Thank God for another bright day. This is your teacher, ekfrimpong, and welcome to KOKMinistries, Kingdom of Knowledge Ministries. We are here to impart knowledge to you. Today, on staying married, we are treating the beginning pillars. The beginning pillars. We want to stay married, and because we want to stay married, we must work towards the marriage survival. We must work towards the marriage survival. Today I am treating the topic, the beginning pillars. The beginning pillars. Why the beginning pillars? Most of the time, as the marriage grows, the love diminishes, as I said last week. So last week I treated love language, how to identify the love as the marriage grows. But today we are treating the beginning pillars. The beginning pillars simply is what existed when everything was okay. What existed when the love was there. What existed at the beginning of the marriage. How did we maintain the love? How did we survive? How did it work? How did we get here? Now, every marriage begins on pillars. And at the beginning stage, we try to find equilibrium, because at the beginning stage, you realize that we are trying to fit in. At the beginning, we try to fit in. By 1 year, boom, we get a fit. We get what works. And then the marriage survives on that. What works. Then, after 3, 4, 5 years, maybe growth in stature, change in job, change in financials, change in our work environment, then all these things comes in to affect the marriage future, and now the marriage begins to look like it is breaking. It begins to look like conversations are not going on. It begins to look like communication is breaking. It begins to look like this is not real. It begins to look like the love is no more there. They're heading towards the 10 years. We begin to look like friends, and we begin to look, oh, this is not working, can we break it up? I'll try and explain it to your understanding. So this is how it works. At the beginning, where the marriage is trying to find a fit, where we all begin working towards how do we fit in, working towards the complaints, trying to resolve what your husband is complaining about, trying to resolve what your wife is worrying your wife. The marriage is then at that point looking for a survival equilibrium, a stable equilibrium, trying to be stable. Then the marriage becomes stable. Then everything flows. Then the conversation is ongoing. I'm not saying that is how all marriages work. No. Some marriage will have a rough start and end. Some marriages will not even start at all. It will end. Some marriage will start. You don't know what happens. Bang. And it gets up. I'm not talking about you. Please. I'm talking about we, the majority. You, the minority, will tackle your issues later. So, when the marriage begins and you have realized that your marriage began on a good note, it became stable, everything was fine, then something hit the marriage, or nothing hit the marriage, but you realize that it has changed and it's like nothing works anymore. Right now we don't talk to each other. Right now everything is about the kids. Like the love is no more there. We don't find time for each other. We don't go out anymore. Then you are the one I'm talking to today. I'm not talking about those who were hit by storms. No. I'm talking about those who had a smooth marriage, and now there is no more sex happening. Now they don't know where the marriage is going. Now they seem not to be married. Like, are we even married couples? Because nothing seems to be working. So let's understand how these things happen. How do they happen? So every marriage, as I said, at the beginning will try to find a stable ground. And the stable ground, they will build it from their courtship. And then to enter the marriage. Now when we enter the marriage, what happens? After we are stable, we must identify what is making the marriage work. So those of you who are now on whose marriage looks unstable, those of you whose marriage looks unstable now, you have to sit down and recollect how the marriage worked. What were the pillars? You see, every marriage is surviving on a pillar. And when one pillar is removed, the stability becomes questionable. And when another pillar removed, the stability, the building now starts shaking. Then when you continue to remove the pillars, you break the marriage. It is the pillars that is surviving the marriage. And therefore, when the marriage is stable, so those of you who are in the unstable stage now, as you are listening to me, sit back and remember from your wedding date till when the marriage was stable, and now analyze what made the marriage stable at that time. Then when you do that analysis, you can appreciate how come the marriage is like this now. Sometimes the things that make the marriage stable could just be that you had one car at the time. And because you had one car, your husband will drive you to work, come and pick you from work, and you then have conversations, and because you are already around each other all the time, you had good conversations. And you laugh at it, you have very good romantic periods and times together. But today, you have two cars. You as a woman, you have your car, and the man has his car. So you go to work on separate ways, you come home, each arrives very late, and we go to bed. So the conversation and the communication has broken by an introduction of a new vehicle, which has taken the pillar of conversation away. Do you get my scenario? Then there are also some relationships that at the beginning, they stayed together. So you have the married begin where the two of them are together, staying in Accra, in the same vicinity, and growing. Then all of a sudden, the man gets a transfer. Then a marriage or a courtship that started close now become a distance relationship. When that also happens, what really goes on is that there is an introduction of an element that has taken the pillar of closeness away, which also brings up a gap. There are also some marriages that will start perfectly, smiles and everything, then an element comes in, which is children. A child comes in and distorts the stableness and makes the marriage unstable. Why? Because now there is more attention to the kid, and now the man is neglected or the woman is neglected. Every discussion is around the kid. We leave the marriage and we do the family. So I'll discuss the marriage and the family in the future. Yes, there is a difference between the marriage, between the family. But when there is an introduction of a visitor, which is a child, into the marriage, now the marriage becomes unstable because we shift all our concentration to the child, leaving the marriage and doing the family. This also destabilizes the stableness of the marriage. Another pillar is taken away. I used to care for my wife. She used to care for me. Now she doesn't ask me how I am. She doesn't care whether I'm sick or fine. She's all about this kid. And my husband is all about this kid. And he plays with the kids, talks with the kids, do everything with the kid. And all the conversation is around the kid. This also makes the marriage unstable. So as I bring in the elements, you understand. Then you started maybe in a chamber and hall or in a 2-bedroom apartment where you and your husband used to sleep on the same bed. Now you have built a mansion and your husband thinks that everyone should have his or her room. So now you live in separate rooms. You meet at a point and it's just a question and answer, conversation breaks. The marriage doesn't look like a marriage anymore. This also destabilizes the marriage. So we are talking about the beginning pillars. We have to look at them carefully. So if you are now married, this is the time to be observing what is making the marriage work. If you are older in marriage, as I am, then we have to review the past and ask the question, how come it worked? And jot down what made it work. Maybe now you have a maid servant in the house, so you are no more washing together as you and the husband used to wash together. You are no more cooking together as you used to cook together. This is bringing a gap, and neither did you find anything to replace the gap. So it has taken a pillar away. The pillar of teamwork is taken away. Now you do nothing for each other practically. Maybe the beginning pillar could be that every weekend we used to go out. Now children are in. I could tell you that in my marriage, for the first 6 years of marriage life, I was not able to take my wife out. We couldn't go out because we were in a production system. We were giving birth like every 2 years we were giving birth. And when you give birth, the child will take breast milk for a year. The mother has to be closer to her for a year. After the year two, the mother has to be there. And then by the time she recovers fully, she gets pregnant. Then we go into another period of those things. And for 6 years, I couldn't take my wife out. So if at the beginning, let's say the first year of our marriage, every week we were going out, every evening I could take her on a Friday chill out. Now we are not able to do those things. And that means that the beginning pillars has been crippled. And we need to replace that. If you are not able to replace that, boom, there is a problem. You understand? If you are not able to replace that, then there is a problem. So that is how, actually what is going on. We must identify what made the marriage work. What was the beginning pillar? How were we doing it when we were stable? What has changed? How do we replace it? I'm not saying changes will not come, but when the changes are coming and we are not finding times to replace it, then the marriage will be having these problems, and we can't assure the future of the marriage, whether it will continue to collapse. When the changes are happening and we don't identify which pillar is going out and how do we replace the pillar, then we are in trouble. If a maid servant comes in, he takes a lot of the work from us. How do we now play our teamwork? How do we replace how we used to do things? When a new car comes in, yes, it separates us. Now we can go to everywhere separately. The teamwork is being affected. How do we keep our conversations? Sometimes we have to park the car and go to places together. We have to set rules that keep us together so that we can keep the old bond. Now it looks like we don't care about each other anymore. Yes, because the pillars were going out. And now we are no more spending time with each other. You come home and the man is already home or asleep. You come home, the woman is already in and she's asleep. First, it was your burden to go and pick her up, and that you all come home together, do certain things together before going to bed. Even maybe a romantic scene will start in the car before ends up in the room. But today, these things are changing. How do we replace them? Take note of the beginning pillars, as today we study on our theme, staying married. Staying married is a full-time job. Yes, it's a full-time job. So let's do the analysis. Let's go back. Let's review the past. Let's review when things were stable and understand what has brought us to this unstable end, or what is taking us into a dissolution, what is getting us feel like this thing is no more working. I am ekfrimpong, your teacher. This is the Kingdom of Knowledge Ministries, KOKMinistries. It is not a church, it is an evangelism wing, my own evangelism wing. I entreat you to subscribe to the channel. I entreat you to hit the notification button so that you continue to see future uploads as I continue to brainstorm and help you make your marriage work. There are other playlists on the channel. We have singles and searching, we have sermons, we have evangelism. We have a lot on the channel, and I will entreat you to go through and watch. You will get your match. I'm also informing you that I need your comment. I need your comment. I need your comment. Let's have the discussion going on the community page. Tell me what you think. Tell me if this program or this video has been beneficial to you. Let me know whether you want more of this. This is for your own good and mine. This is to encourage me to bring more and more and help you stay in marriage. And also, I also entreat you to like it, share the video, let your friends get to know what is happening, and bring more people to the KOK Ministry family. I love you, and I know you love me too. Let me know whether you have really benefited. Ask me any question, and I'll be willing to answer. And also, tell me what topics you want me to treat so that I'll make a tailor-made video to meet the need of my community. Thank you very much. Thank you for being blessed. May God bless you, and may the Holy Spirit be with you. Thank you. See you again next week. Ciao.